The JOOLA Gen 4 is now here, and after my first 10 hours of playing with this, I can tell you that this is definitely worth the hype. Hey, this is Will from Pickleball Paddle Reviews. Today we will be reviewing the JOOLA Pro IV Perseus 16mm, used by the one and only Ben Johns. This is definitely one of the best paddles and probably going to be one of the most popular paddles of 2025. Today we're going to be talking about some of the tech specs and how I think it affects the play with this paddle, my first impressions after playing with it for 10 hours, as well as some of the positives and some of the negatives about using this paddle. Stay tuned to the end as I talk about if I think this is worth the 280 smackaroos to buy this paddle, and how I can possibly help you save with some promotions. All right, let's start with some of the tech specs. So the JOOLA Pro IV Perseus is an elongated shape paddle. There's other shapes as well, the Hyperion, Scorpius, as well as the new Agassiz. There's also Magnus as well, which I forgot about. Very similar to the Scorpius, but with a longer handle. The Perseus, which I have right here, is an elongated shape, like I said, 16.5 inches long, 7.5 inches wide. It's got a 5.5 inch handle with a 4.25 inch circumference. I think it's probably the best handle on the market. I really like how it feels in the hand. It envelops it very well, and there's plenty of space for a two-handed backhand. Might need just a touch more. My Perseus ended up being about 8.1 ounces. The 14mm, they say it's about 7.9 to 8 ounces. So the difference is not too big. Some of the newer tech inside the JOOLA Gen 4 is that the core is no longer compressed. So that helped with some of the durability issues that people were seeing with the Mod TA or the JOOLA Gen 3. There's also this new foam, two foam pieces right here. Tech Flex Power is what they're calling it. Two pieces of softer foam that they put down here that adds a little bit of weight towards the bottom of the paddle, pulling the sweet spot down towards the middle. And the sweet spot on this is actually quite good from that foam. I'm not sure if it's just the foam, but that added weight also helps with the stability. And I can tell you that hitting with this as hard as you want, as soft as you want, feels very good and very stable in the hand, giving you that feeling that you can trust every shot that you're hitting. And I think that's really important. That technology that they added right here really gives you the trust in the paddle to kind of perform exactly how you want it to. Unlike the Mod TA or the Gen 3 JOOLAs, they really did have a little bit too much power. It was bouncing a little too crazy off the paddle, and sometimes it wasn't always as stable as how this feels when you're hitting with it. All right, let's talk about some of the things I really liked about this paddle. So, like I said before, this is a very polished and nice product. I felt like JOOLA really did something great here. They really put all the things they learned from the previous generations into this new paddle. And for me, this is the first JOOLA product I've ever owned. And so just playing with it, it feels just a cut above all of the other paddles that I've played with. The power is good on this paddle. You can really snap shots wherever you need. You can hit drives from anywhere on the court and feel fine. One of the things I really like about this paddle is the predictability of its power. What I mean by that is that if you swing softly, the ball is going to move a little slower. If you swing medium, the ball moves just at a normal pace. And when you swing hard, the ball moves fast. And that sounds like the most simple thing, but honestly, not all paddles can do that. And it has a very high cap at where you can move the ball quick. This is probably really good for professional players that need to be confident in their paddle to be able to move the ball exactly how they want it to, especially with speed. This paddle is definitely really good at placing the ball. It's not the best, but it's definitely really good compared to a lot of other power paddles. And that really surprised me. I think it's quite durable. The edge guard's been beat up on mine already. I've been playing it really rough with this, and I've been having such a great time, and I think it still looks really good for me playing so roughly with it. So to me, the durability of the edge guard itself is really good. Another thing I really liked about this paddle is that even when it did heat up, it didn't heat up that much. It just gave the paddle a little bit more bite, but it wasn't so much that it became a big, huge issue or was not predictable by how I was hitting the ball. What I didn't like about this paddle, for me, when I was playing at the kitchen and volleying, it did feel like it was a little slow. The 16 millimeter especially, I did not feel like it was good for fast hands. I did have a little bit of trouble flicking with this paddle in the beginning, but as I got used to it, I was able to build up the strength to do that. But just right off the bat, I was not performing quite as well with my flicks with this paddle. Now, when I used the 14 millimeter Agassi, I felt like those problems were a lot less because just the ball was coming off the paddle face faster, so those hands battles felt more natural. Another thing that I don't really like about this paddle is that it's $280 and it still uses a honeycomb core, so this thing will eventually die. The honeycomb cores do feel a little bit more durable this time compared to the other Gen 3 and Mod TA, especially since they're not compressed, so they're not already in a compromised situation. But it's still a honeycomb core, and you're paying $280 for a core that you know will degrade quite quickly, actually. I've had a paddle that I put 150 hours on and there's already too many dead spots to play with it. So that means if you just play a few times a week, it will not take that many months for this thing to die. But that is a wait and see kind of thing. We're not 100% sure if the same problems with those honeycomb cores will come back to this one. But most likely, because it's a honeycomb core, we'll see those issues. That means, will you want to spend $280 on a paddle that will wear away that quickly? So with that, do I think the JOOLA Gen 4 is worth it? And yes, as well as no. If you're looking for the top of the line power paddle that has very predictable responsiveness and you can be confident in it, it'll give you the power you need, the spin you need. It's pretty durable. It's definitely the best feeling paddle that I've ever played with, but it's $280. So it's very expensive and you're still gonna have to replace it very likely in a few months, especially if you're playing a lot. But if you're like a professional and you're very serious about pickleball, this is probably very worth it for you. To me, I think I'd rather spend 60 to 70% of that cost and get a very similar paddle that might have 80 to 85% of the power and predictability. It's fine for me, but it might be great for you. That's my opinion on this paddle, especially since there is now a power cap. So many paddles can actually try to reach that cap, and the power that this can make no longer is king. By the way, if you're looking to get a JOOLA Gen 4 paddle, I have a Google form link down below that you can fill out with the paddle that you want, and I'll send you a custom discount code to get that paddle. The link is in the description and I'll hook you up with one of those codes and you can purchase the paddle if it does work out for you. And you can save from that $280 smackaroonies from the retail price. All right, thanks for watching the video, guys. Once again, remember to subscribe and like this video if you like the content. I will be reviewing a lot more paddles coming up very soon. Thanks, peace.